Hi, I lost my job when I was 57 years old. I worked for an apparel and footwear company in the corporate office, and it was a real blow to me to lose my job that early. I really liked the job and I liked the people I worked with, and I worked there for 21 years in two different jobs. I was hoping to actually retire there. 57 is a little bit early to be thinking about retirement, still ready to work, and I thought I was able. A private equity firm had taken over the company about 2 years before I was actually laid off. During that 2 years, I watched a lot of employees get laid off. It wasn't just me. I knew my time was coming ahead of time. I just didn't know when. And those last 2 years were a little bit, uh, were not fun. But it was like, it is what it is. It happens all the time. The private equity firms take over companies and people lose their jobs. So, what was I going to do? Nothing. I'm working for another company. You just never know when something like that is going to happen. And it really stinks, but it's like life, I guess. I was lucky. I was lucky in a lot of ways because I had a 1 year severance package when I was let go. That led to full pay and medical insurance for a year, which was quite nice, I will say. It's better than if I had nothing, right? So it gave me time to get my bearings, figure out what I'm going to do next. I knew I wanted to work next. Knew I wanted to work another permanent job. I was too young to retire. But I lost my job. It was like the end of June. And it was like, oh, I can have a summer off with pay. Something I hadn't had since I was fresh out of high school, 18 years old, because I've always worked at least one full-time job, sometimes full-time job and a part-time job, and going to school part-time. It was nice to have some time off. I spent that summer relaxing, and I actually wrote a memoir, really rough draft, which I never finished because I can't figure out how to make it sound right. I don't like it. But that's another story. But I did spend some time just relaxing, having fun, just taking walks and enjoying life, not having to work. It was nice, even though I missed my coworkers because they were kind of like my social circle in some ways because I didn't have a lot of friends. But although I still was going to church and seeing my church friends. Anyway, in the fall, I had some dental surgery, which took a number of visits, and also I held back on looking for a job until after that. And then I started sending out resumes. It was towards the end of the year. I started sending out resumes and doing interviews. The first few interviews were very hard for me because it had been so long since I'd actually done an interview, and I was like so unprepared. They were horrible. And of course, I didn't get a job. I was like, I don't know, my mind wasn't working properly. I wasn't prepared for some questions, and it wasn't good. I know it, but they were like practice, and practice makes you get better. So there I think it was January. Yeah, January, after being laid off in June, I had applied for a job at a place with senior services, and they hired me as an accounting assistant or accounting clerk. I forget what the position was called, but it was a good job and they paid decent. But one of the jobs was filing. And when they told me that in the interview, I was just thinking, oh, it'll be a little bit of filing here and there. Most companies that I know of are going more digital. They're not keeping regular files. So I just figured it would just be a little bit of filing. No, but no, it wasn't. It was like hours of filing. And there was like a lot of bending over, this and that. I pulled my back out. I couldn't do it. Well, anyway, when I told them that, they said, well, that's part of the job. If you can't do it, we're going to have to let you go, which is okay, which is very discouraging. What got me even more was, okay, I had to stay for another week to train the person who was going to take the new person who took over for my job. I'd only been there like 3 weeks because 1 week was training and then 2 weeks, and then I spent another week trying to do the job and cutting, then another week training the next person. That was very weird. But I was making some money, so I figured I need the money, so I'll just do it. And it wasn't too bad. Meanwhile, when I got done that job, I said I need to get making some money, so I started writing again it was like a content mill that I'd been writing for quite a number of years, but only off and on. But I started getting more into it. I also started doing some thrift store shopping and then reselling on eBay and Amazon and Poshmark. And I was making some good money that. I was having fun doing it. And I also started driving for Lyft part-time. That's another way to make some money. I was like, I enjoyed all these different jobs. I like variety, and it was variety doing all these jobs. And it wasn't bad. I actually liked it. I was happy. I was able to pay my bills. I wasn't suffering or anything. Anyway, later on, I think it was like April, I was offered another job at a car leasing company as an accounting clerk, accounting assistant, whatever it was. But anyway, I was there a month and didn't do a single bit of accounting. They started out having me like sit there practically all day doing nothing but handwriting information on file folder. That was so hard. I can't remember the last time I did so much handwriting. My hand was just like cramping up, the pain would move up to my wrist, my arm, hardly move. And finally, they gave me another job. This one was like 2 big bins of envelopes that I had to open manually. Letter opener just slipped, and wouldn't you know it, 5 hours into it, my shoulder was burning so bad I felt like I was going to die. I could not move my arm. It was hard. And it's like I told them that, and they said, that's the job if you can't do it. Yet again, even though they said the job was going to be accounting, and I hadn't done a single bit of accounting in a month. So that was the end of that job. So this made me even more discouraged. I was like, that's 2 permanent jobs I've gotten and 2 permanent jobs I couldn't due to disability, I guess you would call it. So I signed up for a temp agency, and I started working for them a little bit here and there. They were just giving me temporary jobs, anywhere from a day to 2 months. 2-month job I really liked. Wish I could have stayed there. I could have done that, no problem. But I was only filling in for somebody who was out due to a car accident. When she came back, well, that was my end of my tenure there. But I really liked that job, and I liked the people there. Shame I couldn't have stayed, but oh well. Anyway, after that, I continued doing my reselling and driving for Lyft and writing. Anyway, and I'm trying to think. I got a couple other like permanent jobs, supposedly, that wrecked my back, wrecked this. I was just like, I was ready to give up. I truly was. In the meantime, my mother and my sister lived up in north central Pennsylvania, and which was about 2.5 hours from me, I lived closer to Philadelphia. And they were bugging me to come up. My mother was going downhill with her COPD, and I figured it would be nice to go up there and spend some time with her before she actually dies. And I did. It's cheaper. It's much cheaper living up there. Living up here, I'm living there now too. It's much cheaper. It's saving me money, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. But when I first started moving up here, I still did the reselling. That was no problem. Did some writing. I tried to drive for Lyft up here too, but it was too much. There was just too many miles and too much, not enough money. I mean, most of the time I'd sit at home and just wait for the app to ping. It wouldn't, hardly any business. Because it's so rural up here, I think most people have cars. If they don't, they've come to not rely on Lyft or Uber. I don't know. But that was a bust. But I was still making money reselling, and that was cool too. I applied for a few job openings, though, and I got an interview with one. I wound up getting the job, as I found out my niece worked for this company too, and she put in a good word for me. So that helped, I'm sure, get the position. It was for a data entry job, which I thought was just going to be easy and maybe kind of boring. I don't know. It only paid $10 an hour, though, which was really, I hadn't made that little in quite a while. I don't know how long, years. But that job was such a joke. Honestly, I was there for 8 months. I started out low man on the totem pole in our little section of 5 people. 9 months later, I was a senior. I was a senior data entry person because a lot of people had quit. So I knew, and they quit, and I knew it, and it was such a joke. Management was horrible. They didn't know how to treat people. I was the oldest person there. I was working with all these people in their 20s and 30s, and it was like, they kept getting after me. You're not fast enough. You're not accurate enough. You got to keep up with the others. I'm like, I'm 30 years older. You expect me to be that quick? I don't know. And for $10 an hour, and then one day I just woke up and I could not move. I could not move. I could not think. I couldn't do anything. I thought I was sick there for a minute. For a while. A couple days later, I realized it's not. It's depression. I'm getting depressed, and this isn't good. I don't want to be depressed. Not at this time in my life. I want to feel good, and I want to enjoy my retirement, I guess. So I quit, and that was it for permanent jobs. I was through. I had had it. Between not being able to do the job and putting up with bad management, it's like, I'm just too old for this crap. I don't know, but it was horrible. I hope other people don't go through everything I do when I lost my job at 57. I'd love to hear your comments on how it worked for you. I hope it worked better if you were in that position yourself. But I am much happier just working for myself and doing reselling and writing and whatever, just to make a few extra bucks. I also got lucky in that my mother, well, actually, it's not lucky that my mother passed on, but she passed on a year and a half after I moved here. And she left me a little bit of inheritance. It's probably not enough to get me through till my death, unless I die within the next 10 years or so. I guess I got enough for 10 years, but I still have to watch my money, even though I'm not very good at it right now. I did buy a nice little manufactured home and a new car. The rest I'm living on, as well as along with my Social Security. So I'm not bad off, but I don't consider myself rich by any stretch of the imagination. But anyway, I am retired now. And while I started YouTube not wanting to make any money, it might not be bad though to monetize this channel. I just don't know how I'm going to do it because I don't consider myself a good talker, or I don't know, is my information, anything I say, going to resonate with people? Well, I've enjoyed watching channels of other people my age or even a little younger. Anyway, all I can do is hope and pray. And I do pray all the time. If you like this video, please like and comment and subscribe if you like. Anyway, thank you.